For as long as I could remember, I've always had a love for animals. Most little kids love doggies and kitties and horsies and penguins. However, I loved squid, sea stars, sea slugs, and just about any other funky-looking forgotten animal. Now, my love for animals is certainly well-fed due to where I live, which is by some of the country's greatest zoos and aquariums, like the Lincoln Park Zoo, Shedd Aquarium, and Brookfield Zoo. After a few ocean-inspired writing pieces, school research projects, and boring talk of marine biology to my friends and family, I finally found a use for my mixture of animal knowledge. Last summer, I think I had the greatest summer job. An interpreter at the Shedd Aquarium. There's the Shedd Aquarium if you didn't know. This was part of the teen work study program, which accepts about 30 high school students to work at the aquarium. Some would work in the gardens outside. Some worked in customer service. However, I was an interpreter, which basically means that I'd share animal facts with visitors. So, unfortunately, I wasn't able to interpret any squid, sea jellies, or sea slugs, as I was only allowed to interpret what was assigned. But anyways, we were assigned a new post to interpret called Plastic Oceans. It looked like this. It was a small raised splash pool with little fish toys in it, and kids would pretend to be ocean predators and use the utensils to capture the fish. However, there's a catch. Plastic beads polluted the pool and prevented the kids from catching only fish. No matter how careful they were, plastic beads ended up in their catches along with their plastic fish. Now, this was a good way to get the kids acquainted with the horrors of plastic pollution without it being scary, but it was actually fun. And so many kids got really attached to this game and would not want to leave. And I encountered so many crying kids at this post that didn't want to leave that I decided to carry around a pad of stickers to help stop their crying and spare their parents' sanity. Now, this was one of my favorite posts to interpret, as I was able to directly share ocean conservation stories with the parents of the kids who were playing. And I quickly learned that the majority of parents with kids aged 4 to 8 had no idea that Americans use 500 million straws daily. And keep in mind that the American population is 323 million. And this was one of Shedd's biggest campaigns. It's called Shed the Straw. And by eliminating unnecessary one-use plastics from your lifestyle, you can help reduce the amount of plastic that makes its way into the environment. However, when plastic does make its way into the ocean, the currents usually carry it to a gyre, which is where a bunch of wind patterns and ocean currents converge and create a type of circulation in the water. One of the most notable gyres is the Northern Pacific Gyre, also known as the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. And unfortunately, many species live in or migrate through the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, one of which is the Malaysian albatross. They have 6-foot-long wingspans, and they're able to be out at sea for months at a time without even touching land. Their hunting skills is to skim the surface of the water to catch fish and squid that are swimming on top. And this is a little problematic, as when they're skimming the surface, they end up catching plastic along with their food, and they eat it. And when they bring their catch back to their chicks, then the chicks end up eating the plastic as well. And the unfortunate consequences of these chicks eating plastics include their stomachs being cut internally, or they think that they're full even though they have no food in their system and die of starvation. And when you look at pictures of the decaying albatrosses, you see the types of plastics that they ate. And as you can see in this one, you could see a straw, some bottle caps, a plastic lighter, and a lot of miscellaneous unidentifiable plastics. It's hard to believe that us humans have unconsciously done such horrible things, not only to the Malaysian albatross, but to all other sorts of animals, whether they are terrestrial or aquatic, furry or scaly, local or abroad. Now, what can we do to help resolve this issue of plastic pollution? Stop using unnecessary one-use plastics. Plastic straws, utensils, shopping bags, they all have simple alternatives. Unlike paper or other natural products, plastics don't degrade. They just get smaller and smaller, turning into microplastics. So really, plastics break up and not down. The best way to reduce our footprint is to reduce our consumption. And the human population as a whole needs to eliminate these one-use items that will last longer than several generations. And the most important step to realize when thinking of ocean sustainability is to realize that it starts with one simple step to shed the straw. Oh. Thank you.